Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, February 10th, and it's time for another video about goings-on in the shop. There have been some changes, which I'm going to go over in this video. Changes for the better. And there's also this video is going to be much longer than most of my videos. In fact, all the videos from here on out are going to be much longer for reasons that I will explain in a minute. First, I want to go over what's going on the workbench, and then we'll go over some of the content changes that have occurred and will be occurring with the videos, and where we're going to be going from there. So let's get to it. This machine is this Epson flatbed scanner is brand new, and the owner needed me to set it up, plus an install of Microsoft Office Home and Business 2016. That's now all done. It's all set to be picked up on Monday. This Dell tower over here has what I'm pretty sure is a potential memory issue. It needs some more diagnosis, which it's going to get over the weekend, and if my suspicions are confirmed, I'm going to be changing all the memory in it, and we'll go from there and see how it acts. Now I want to talk about the changes that are going to be occurring with the videos. For those of you that live in the Woodbury area, my video content is going to be picked up by a site called Just Woodbury. And for those of you that don't know, the URL of that site is justwoodbury.com. So you will be able to see these videos on Just Woodbury as well. Because they're being picked up by Just Woodbury, I'm going to make these videos longer, and I'm going to try to discuss specific topics within them. I'm actually going to do a couple videos today. And this first topic that I'm going to discuss is the 3 big problems that come into my shop. All the work that comes in here, for the most part, can be broken down into 3 specific categories. Those are problems caused by viruses, what I call malware, which I'll describe in a minute. Problems caused by lack of backups, and problems caused by lack of system recovery media. Now, the malware issue is number 1. Malware is my term that encompasses all the different types of garbage that is out there now that is common. First, we have to talk about where malware comes from. Right now, 1 million new pieces of malware get released on the internet every single day by computer criminals that are looking to use it to make money. That comes out to 121 million new pieces of malware a year. The translation of this for those of you in English means that your computers are under constant assault every time you go out on the internet. You cannot go on the internet without picking up some piece of malware. Now, keep in mind that some malware is extremely minor, and some of it is a very big deal. Minor pieces of malware would be something like tracking cookies, for example. If you've ever been to a website and then gone somewhere else and noticed the ads that you were getting were for things that you just looked at on the other site, and you're going, where did this come from? That's a tracking cookie at work. This is a minor piece of malware. Major pieces of malware would be like, say, a password stealing Trojan. Now, I was going to get into the different types of malware, but really that's a subject for another video. I want to talk about how you avoid malware. The first way to avoid malware is to make sure that the security that is installed on your computer is adequate. And by that I mean good, up-to-date antivirus. Now, I need to discuss a problem with antivirus software. One antivirus solution isn't going to cut it these days, and I'm going to explain why. And the reason why is that when malware gets released, your antivirus, let's say we're talking about Norton for a minute, Norton isn't going to be able to pick up a brand new piece of malware because it doesn't know how to recognize it. It doesn't have what we call a definition for it. In order to get a definition for a new piece of malware, the malware has to be analyzed by human beings that are specially trained to analyze malware, determine how it affects the system, what it does to the system, how it can be removed, and then they will create a definition file that goes with Norton antivirus or whatever antivirus we're talking about. And then they will push the definition, usually as part of a definition set, out to the public. The problem, as I said, is this all has to be done by human beings. And this all takes time. And I think you can see where the problem is. If we're dealing with 1 million new pieces of malware a day, it's kind of tough to keep up with all the malware that's being pushed out there. So what's going to happen is viruses and malware are going to get missed. So you can't run more than one antivirus on a computer because the two, they will conflict. They will bang heads and you can really make a mess out of your machine. So the other method that you really need to do, that people really need to try to do, is to be what I call a conservative surfer. That means that you don't want to go to a whole bunch of questionable websites, surfing around the internet willy-nilly every single day. I have a group of sites that I stick to every day. I'm mainly on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, checking things out, which I'll get into dangers of social media in a whole nother video because there's a whole nother subset of issues that surround that and malware. My mom has a group of sites that she visits every day. We have fully updated antivirus and the computers in here are not getting infected. The worst people that come in here for infections are teenagers. And I've had teenagers come in here and bring in machines that had 2,000 pieces of malware, 4,000 pieces of malware. The record is just over 5,000 pieces of malware on a single computer. And this computer was owned by a 13-year-old girl. Yep, you got it. Surfing all over the place, picking up God only knows what from malware. Those are the two biggest tips that I can tell you about malware avoidance. Now, the second problem is problems caused by lack of backups. Why are backups important? Well, all computers have hard drives in them. And hard drives are electrical devices. In some cases, they're electromechanical devices. And like all electrical or mechanical devices, over a period of time, they will fail. And when your hard drive fails, everything that was on your computer, in fact, the hard drive is basically your computer's soul, if you will, or your computer's heart. Everything that was on your computer is going to go with it. And if you do not have backups, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to lose a lot of data. And two, it's going to be a fairly expensive proposition to repair, depending on what materials you have for your computer or don't have for your computer. The cost of repairing a hard drive and getting Windows back on it may be more than what the computer is worth. And I have to take this on a case-by-case basis because every computer is different. If you have good full image backups of your hard drive, however, you can save yourself a lot of grief and a lot of money. Typically, if you have good full image backups, the fee to restore a computer is $53.18 plus the cost of a replacement hard drive. And hard drives vary by size and type, so I can't really give you a price for that in this video. But many people don't realize that they have to back up their data, or how important it is that they back up their hard drives. And this is just as important for the average computer user as it is for a business. In some cases, you may want to keep more than one backup of your hard drive because you can lose your hard drive and lose access to one backup. Redundancy is the key here. There are several ways to get this done. If you want to look at backing up your system and you're not sure how to do it, please contact me. I will make sure that my contact information is on the website. We haven't created the page yet on Just Woodbury where these videos are going to go, but I will make sure that my contact information is there so you can reach me. The third problem that I would like to talk about is the lack of system recovery media. What is system recovery media? You buy a new computer. You don't get a Windows installation disk with it anymore. You have to actually make the Windows installation media using a tool that is on the computer. And depending on the computer, it can either be a series of DVDs or it can be on a flash drive. And I usually use 16 gig flash drives for this when I do them. But you can also use, like I said, a flash drive. Now, this media is used to recover Windows in the event that your hard drive fails or you get so infected that I have to completely erase your hard drive and start all over, which is called a format. Some people will also call this a factory system restore. But in order to do either one of those, you need the system recovery media. If you don't have it, then I have to buy a new copy of Windows. And these copies of Windows, right now, Windows 10, we're typically looking at $130 to get a copy of Windows 10 for a computer in here. And depending upon the situation, if you have not made your system recovery media and you're in need of it and I can't make it, which would be typically because your hard drive has failed and you don't have backups, then the total cost of then repairing everything is going to most likely push the computer beyond the realm of being worth it to repair. Also, if I have to restore a machine from, and part of the reason for this is, if I have to restore a machine from scratch, and even if I have the recovery media, the labor is much more extensive than it is if we have a full image backup and I have to restore from a full image backup. Restoring from a full image backup is $53.18. Restoring from Windows recovery media, starting basically all over from scratch, is $159.53. And all the prices I'm giving, by the way, include Connecticut sales tax. So as you can see, it would behoove you to have a full image backup of your system. These are the three biggest problems that come into my shop. And even sometimes I've had people come in here that needed to get data back and had data loss and have been extremely upset by the fact that they lost data. I've had people nearly in tears from data loss. I would like to say, before I end the video, that I do work with a data recovery service called Drive Savers out in California. But I will say this, they are very good. They can recover data in 90% of cases, and it doesn't matter what happened to your hard drive. If the hard drive is not too far gone for them to recover, they will recover it. However, they are extremely expensive. Typically, data recoveries that I've done with Drive Savers will run somewhere around $2,500. Therefore, I treat calling them like you would treat calling 911. You don't want to have to call them. You don't want to put yourself in the position where you're going to have me call them. So, I think you know where that is coming back to. Make sure you have good full image backups of your system. A backup can even get you out of a bad virus situation if you get yourself into one of those situations. That's basically going to be it for this video. As always, for my YouTube and Facebook users, rate, comment, like, subscribe, and I will see everyone very soon. As I said, I'm probably going to be doing a second video today, and then we will go from there and see what happens. I'll see everyone soon. Bye-bye.